welcome. We're back here down at the corner with your Almond Delights. And this week, we will begin our read of The Kingdom by yours truly, Mr. McShakie. You guys go over to Amazon.com and download your books today or purchase the paperback, whichever one you decide. But go over also to his YouTube channel, McShakie Live, and subscribe. You guys check the description box below for all of the links that you will need to download your book as well as to subscribe to his channel. Also go over to Instagram.com and follow him there. Y'all, we about to start reading. Let's see what it's going to be about. Get your mugs and sip slow. We over here reading, y'all. Hi, and welcome back to our final episode or our final read tonight, honey, of The Kingdom down here at the corner. Hold on real quick, child, because I had to put something back up here. How y'all doing on this good old Monday night, honey? I hope you guys have enjoyed your Monday, enjoyed your weekend. We are back down here to see what is going on over there at the Kingdom. So to recap what happened last week, we know that now Athena knows that Ares is not in prison. Artemis knows that Apollo is not Ares, and Ares is not Apollo. She has another brother, a twin brother. And so now they're on this whole journey of seeing what's going to happen next. We know that the FBI is trying to take down the Kingdom. Also, Artemis's mother has come back. She was an FBI agent who she was supposed to be trying to get the Kingdom, get Zeus and everybody, but then she turned around and slept with the person she was supposed to be trying to go after, and now she had a child by him, so they had to get her off the case. She had to go away. This is that the third. If y'all forgot, if y'all didn't know about that part, then hey, I'm gonna need you to go back and reread or re-listen to what it is that we read. So tonight it's gonna be a treat because I said it's gonna be the last one. So it's gonna be about 3.5 chapters. I'm glad y'all doing good. I am glad that y'all doing good. But we're gonna get started on this read. We on chapter 27. Make sure you guys have subscribed, like the video, and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Chapter 27. Oh, disclaimer. It's going to be some cussing. Heavy on the disclaimer. It's going to be some cussing, okay? I just want to let y'all know, and it might be some other things in here. I don't know if they're going to be hunching no more, child, because there's a whole lot of going on. People just done died and things. But we about to start reading. Your little boyfriend, Dr. Caleb Vincent, ain't no fucking doctor. His name ain't even Caleb, Ares stated. Everyone was silent, waiting for his revelation. Athena's eyes watered as she shook her head in disbelief, wondering where she went wrong. Don't cry now, big sister. It's too late for that now. Caleb is really Vernon Taylor, FBI Special Agent Vernon Taylor. Special Agent? Questioned Apollo. Exactly. He's a fucking federal agent working on an operation aimed bringing down our entire family. All of us are targets for the investigation, but at the top of the food chain, who else but Athena M. King, Ares said. Athena, I know you weren't that careless, said Artemis. Ares, stop, Athena demanded. Nah, I'm just getting started. You've been sleeping with the enemy, putting this entire family at risk. Yet you talk about me dismantling everything? Well, you were 2 weeks from causing catastrophe. But all that shit is about to end. You are through. Your reign of terror is over. I'm going to make sure of that right fucking now, Ares said as he pulled a gun from behind his back. Athena, feeling she was in danger, grabbed Artemis, who was closest to her, and put her 45 to Artemis's temple, then used her as a shield. Artemis, still weak from the hospital, could not fight back. Athena, what are you doing? Cried Artemis. Apollo gasped and Ares aimed his gun at Athena. Put the fucking gun down, demanded Athena as she backed out of the kitchen, still holding Artemis. Athena, that's your sister, yelled Apollo. He could not believe what Athena was doing. Am I not your sister? Athena yelled. Ares, you know I would not hesitate to do so. Put the gun down. You wouldn't, growled our Ares. I would, and then I would have no regrets. You are the king. I am the queen. Now put the damn gun down, she yelled, backing up. Athena, please let me go, cried Artemis. You're right, Athena. You are truly fucked up. I don't want you to hurt Artemis. I know you would. I'm putting the gun down just to let our sister go, Ares said as he slowly put the gun on the floor. Now kick it over here, Athena ordered. Ares complied and then put his hands up in surrender position. Let her go, Athena. You got what you want, said Apollo. Not a chance, laughed Athena. She's coming with me. I'm going for now, but trust I will regroup and I will return with a vengeance. You're not going anywhere, Agent Taylor said, placing the tip of his gun on the back of Athena's head. Now that shit comes back to bite you in the ass, said Ares. Athena, you can't make it out. Put the gun down and come with me. The gig is up. In a few minutes, federal agents will swarm the mansion and there will be no escaping, lied Agent Taylor. Caleb, I cannot believe you. How could you do this to me? You held me and told me that you cared, Athena said, not budging. Bitch, I could never care for you. You are psychotic. What man on earth could find that attractive? You a real life killer. You had your brother set up, threatened another brother, and now you're trying to take your little sister hostage? You are a cold-blooded, heartless bitch. What kind of man wants a woman like that? Agent Taylor asked, laughing. Just then, there was a single gunshot. Everybody ducked down and dodged automatically as a barrage of bullets began to ring out. Marlon had been watching the situation unfold from a ground level window outside of the kitchen. He felt that it would be a bad time to make his move when he saw Athena and Artemis at the mansion. He was about to call it off when he saw what he thought was Ares and his double join the sisters. Marlon still did not know what to make of that. He wished he could hear the conversation, but the soundproof glass windows prevented that. But whatever was being said was hurting Athena. He could tell by the look on her face, and he didn't like it. Marlon then witnessed Athena grab Artemis and place a gun to her head. He thought Ares was cold for having his cousin killed, but to murder her own sister was ice cold. Athena was truly vicious. He guessed that that was what she meant about the real Athena, but he was even more attracted to her. Marlon was a heartless killer himself and never dreamed he met a woman cold-hearted enough to match his personality. Seeing the situation unfold only made him want Athena more. Then he saw the strange man sneak up behind Athena and place a gun to her head. Oh, fuck no, he said. He had to go and help Athena. He was obviously outnumbered. You ain't gonna do bait like that. Marlon ran around the mansion and entered the already open front door. He had been there before and knew the general layout of the area. He came up behind the strange man and aimed his Desert Eagle directly at his head and fired a clear shot straight to the man's dome. He quickly put the gun in the holster and brandished the AK-47 and began spraying. He aimed away from where Athena and Artemis were as he hit almost every appliance in the kitchen. Once the dust settled, he took out his 357 and entered the kitchen area. Artemis was mortified. When the bullet stopped, she tried to crawl under a table, but her path was blocked by a lifeless body. Artie, are you hit? Athena asked with concern as she crawled next to Artemis. Get away from me, screamed Artemis. She frantically tried to get away from Athena. Athena looked defeated. She would never hurt Artemis and was only using her to escape. She would think that Artemis knew that, but it was obvious that Artemis didn't trust her now. Athena then looked around trying to find a getaway, but then she saw Marlin. She was thoroughly confused as he approached the terrified Apollo, who had taken refuge behind the counter. I gotta teach you a lesson about playing with a nigga like me, Marlin spat as he pointed the gun directly at Apollo's face. Sir, I don't know what you're talking about, Apollo pleaded in horror. Bullshit, nigga. You're exactly who I'm looking for, Ares, said Marlin right before he heard the gun click behind him. Athena saw Ares, who had gotten to his gun and aimed it at Marlin. Athena feared the worst, quickly shot her gun at Ares, who ducked for cover, thus saving Marlin's life. We even, she thought to Marlin in her head. Marlin, I don't know what you tripping off, my nigga, but you really need to put that gun away, said Ares. Nah, nigga, you tried to play me out of my money, stated Marlin. Bruh, you never came at me for the rest of the money, explained Ares. Athena got up and saw the dead body of Caleb Vincent, aka Agent Vernon Taylor. She looked over and saw the standoff between Ares, Marlin, and Apollo. With all the mayhem, she decided that it was a perfect time to make an exit. She had lost this round, but she intended to come back after he regrouped. Ares didn't notice Athena leaving. Artemis did, but she was too much in awe to say anything. I did the deed Sunday morning, and I called you the next day for the rest of my cash, and you played me to the left, was the last thing that Athena heard Marlin say as she rushed out to her car and got in. She was going to flee the city, for now. Marlin, put the gun down, Ares said, realizing that Marlin had spoken to Apollo and not him. Check it, my nigga. As you can see, there was a misunderstanding. But I got your money. Put your weapon up and I'll get it for you. Nah, you put your gun down first, Marlin demanded. Ares digressed as he should have shot Marlin, but didn't want to risk Marlin shooting Apollo. He did not want to lose the upper hand, but he reluctantly put his gun back on the floor. Kick it over, Marlin instructed. Ares complied, and Marlin, with his gun still trained on Apollo, picked up the weapon and aimed it at Artemis. Nigga, what the fuck are you doing? Ares growled. Artemis's eyes got huge. Go get my money times 3, or I'll off Ares number 2 and Artemis number 1, Marlin stated seriously. Ares was furious, but he looked at his sister and brother and ran upstairs. To Apollo and Artemis, the few minutes Ares was gone felt like forever. Ares had gone to his safe and got out $750,000 for Marlin. It was an exceedingly small price to pay for Artemis and Apollo, and the smartest thing he could do at the time. Marlin didn't know it, but he had saved Ares $99 million by killing Agent Taylor. Yet Ares fully intended to get Marlin back. Now wasn't the time. Ares returned downstairs with 2 garbage bags full of money. He threw it down at Marlin's feet, who put both guns in his waist and ran out with the bags. Artemis, with tears in her eyes, ran up and embraced Ares. She hugged him so tight he could barely breathe. Apollo was scared to move. Artemis broke away from Ares and went over to where Apollo was crouched down on the floor. She offered her hand to him with a smile. He looked at her and hesitated, but he took her hand and she helped him up. Welcome to the family, she said heartfully. She felt empathy for him now being exposed to the never-ending drama of the kingdom. Thanks, I guess, he said softly. Artemis hugged him and he returned her embrace. Ares looked at them and scowled. Ares, don't be like that. You said yourself Athena was using him. He can't be held responsible, said Artemis. Ares walked over with a look of death on his face. Apollo trembled, and then Ares stuck out his hand. Apollo shook it, and they gave each other a brotherly embrace. The two were together at last. What are we going to do now? Didn't Agent Taylor say the feds were on their way here? Asked Apollo, looking at the dead body. That can't be true because he needed me for the wire transfer, Aries said as he explained how Agent Taylor thought he was in for $100 million payday. I was going to end up killing him anyway. Marlon just did me a favor. Teddy should be here shortly with the goon squad to clean this up. Apollo, get dressed. We have to meet with the lawyer and see how we can get us out of this. What about Athena? Asked Artemis, explaining how she saw Athena make an exit. We'll be on high alert, but I will punish her the next time she shows her face. I'll spread the word. I want her found dead or alive. But the King brothers run the show. Now it's a new fucking day, said Ares, smiling at Apollo. Chapter 28. I need to go and see what's going on, Sophia, said Nina, as she explained the entire story of Artemis and her other life to Sophia. And while I'm gone, you need to look after Alejandro. Thea, Alexandra is in the game, responded Sophia. Watch your mouth, Nina said, not being able to accept that her son and the one important thing she left New Orleans with had joined the local gang. Tia, I love you, but Alex runs this block. He is a leader in the gang, and no matter how much you and him pretend that it's not happening, my cousin needs some type of father figure. That's why he's in the streets. You will do as I say, Sophia. After some silence, well, where did you get money from? I have some saved up, she explained. Well, if you need more, Alex keeps wads of cash in the shoebox under his bed. Nina went to her son's room and found the box, and sure enough, as Sophia had said, was several bands of cash rolled up. Alexandra Ray Lopez, where did all this money come from? I don't know, Tia. Perhaps the fact that Alexandra is the biggest drug dealer in Washington Heights. Nina hung her head. She didn't want to admit it, but she had seen her son with the Catholic Saints tattoo, the Cuban link chains, the fact that he called himself Alexander the Great, and now the money. She knew her son needed a male figure in his life, but his father was a violent drug dealer, even if she never told him who his father was. How long will you be gone? A few weeks, maybe less. A few weeks? Yes, mi sobrina, Nina stated, thinking about her alter ego Paris King. I need to return to New Orleans. New Orleans? For what? Asked Alexandra as he walked into the house. He was a tall, slim, light brown skinned teenager, being a mix of black and Cuban. He had curly hair and exotic features. He had the look of a pretty boy, but he was anything but. Alexander was a problem child. A real Diablo, as his mother would say. The Marilito was a Cuban gang in New York that was predominant in their neighborhood. Alexander, at his young age, was a boss in the gang, even if he would not admit it to his mother. Nina was silent as she looked at Sophia, who shook her head. Marco, you seem to have a problem following simple directions, said Don Carmine Gambino. He was an Italian-owned seaside. He was at an Italian-owned seaside warehouse in Long Island, New York. He was talking to Marco, the worker he had commissioned to deliver the message to Artemis. Sir, I'm sorry. Please. She was fighting back, said Marco. He was tied and chained to 6 cylinder blocks and positioned directly on a dock that was over the Atlantic Ocean. You had a gun, Marco. You are telling me you had a gun to her head and she fought back? Asked the Don. Mr. Gambino, she was trying to get away, said Marco. I can't believe you were so disobedient, Marco, the Don said. Don, please, sir, forgive me, cried Marco. Now the Kings may be aggressively seeking us out because you put their sister in the hospital. Not to mention the police could have gotten involved, said the Don. Actually, Don, began Detective Derulo. He was on the Gambino crime family's payroll. Artemis didn't snitch. She actually told us that she did remember a thing. A bitch has more balls than you, Marco, said the Don. Well, she had more balls. Don Carmine nodded toward one of his goons, and then they pushed a screaming Marco's body into the ocean, the cinder blocks helping him sink to the bottom. Don, here is the information you requested, said Detective Derulo as he handed the Don a folder. The Don opened it and began reading. What is the Robinson connection to the king? Asked the Don. That I don't know, but I'm working to find out. At King Towers, Ares and Apollo met with Cynthia. They told her the entire story. That is amazing, said Cynthia. What can I say? Long lost twin, jealous sister, rogue agent? It would make a great book. Seriously though, Cynthia, what do we have to do to protect ourselves? Asked Ares. Apollo was surprised. Athena had painted a picture of Ares that was not entirely accurate. Apollo could see that his brother was very protective of family. I'm no lawyer, Cynthia, but the evidence that the crew found in Agent Taylor's vehicle proves that he intended to abandon the operation. The fake passport, numbered bank account, and packed bag with a one-way ticket to Venezuela will tell me he intended to deflect, said Apollo. Right. So then some money should go into the account. Someone should take the flight, and then the evidence should be presented to the special agent in charge. It will look as if Agent Taylor got paid off. They could either attempt to file charges or cease their investigation. Either way, the case would appear tainted, and I'll tear that up in court, explained Cynthia. Aries got on the phone and called Teddy to make just that happen. My professional opinion is that they will be so embarrassed that two separate investigations ended so sourly. They would catch hell trying to get a quorum from the grand jury. So that takes care of the government, said Apollo. Not all of it. What about the state charges that I called in Apollo's name? The two murders neither of us committed, and the one I committed in self-defense, explained Marlowe. I'm sorry, explained Aries. Well, don't kiss me, began Cynthia. But I made a deal earlier with District Judge Jonathan Laporte. He is now in our pocket. So even though he'll make more money than me working for you this year, the state charges will be an afterthought. Aries got up and kissed her on the cheek anyway. She playfully slapped his shoulder. Cynthia, we can change that. I'll give you a nice fat bonus, Aries promised. Why, thank you, Mr. King. I'm just doing my job, but I will take that bonus, laughed Cynthia. Cynthia, apparently you do your job well, Apollo said, shaking her hand. Cynthia, that's not it, Aries began. I don't just want to protect my brother legally, but I want to protect him financially as well. If you would please get the paperwork together, I want to make him co-owner of the mansion, and I want to give him the car collection. I want to transfer to him half of my inheritance, $75 million, and I want to give him half of my stocks in King Enterprises. Aries, are you sure? Apollo asked surprised. You are my brother, my twin, my blood. The king blood is thick. I have already forgiven and accepted who you are. I want you to forgive and accept me as well, explained Aries. I do, Aries, brother, said Apollo. Welcome to the family, your family. Apollo Robinson King, said Aries. I don't know what to say, exclaimed Apollo, shocked. Say you'll run the company. I'm not cut out to be CEO. You have the education, knowledge, and drive. I want you in the big chair here at King Enterprises. I can then focus on the kingdom, Aries offered. Aries, from the moment I saw you, I felt the connection. I finally felt complete after all the answers were there. The void in my life is starting to feel filled. You didn't have to do anything for me, but I thank you and I appreciate it. I'll take the position, and even though we are still learning each other, I love you, and I'm glad to have finally found you. I'm glad you are my brother, said Apollo, and then the brothers embraced. I'll go get started on the paperwork, Cynthia said, smiling from ear to ear as she left them to talk to themselves. Vanessa arrived at the Shreveport Bossier Regional Airport in North Louisiana. She was going to Shreveport for Buster's funeral and to meet up with Vengeance. She was excited to finally meet the lethal assassins that wreaked havoc in the name of Warren King. She took a seat at her gate once she got off the plane. She was not sure who to expect, but she was sure she didn't encounter anyone that appeared to be cold-blooded killers. "Are you Vanessa?" a voice behind her asked. She turned around to see who had called her name. Whom she did see surprised her. There stood a supermodel in a black and white Jason Wu thigh-high dress and a pair of black Manolo Blahnik stiletto heels. There were two companions with her, and they were equally as gorgeous. "No, you can't be Vengeance," Vanessa said instinctively. She was expecting notorious killers, not video hoes. "We get that a lot," the woman said, extending her hand. "I'm Mayan, but everybody calls me May." She was light-skinned and looked like Alicia Keys, tall with hips, thighs, and a small waist. "This is April." May pointed to the only white woman of the trio. April waved at Vanessa. She had a body like Jessica Alba, stacked in the right places with blonde hair and sea blue eyes. "And that is Veronica June." May pointed to the last woman. "May girl, don't be using my government name like that. Call me June," she said, walking up to Vanessa and shaking her hand. She was tall and thick. She was a light brown skinned, thick, fine woman with a ghetto vibe. Hi, I'm Vanessa. Excuse me for getting a little speechless, but I was not expecting you all to be so pretty." Vanessa stumbled. The girls all laughed. "I guess we can take that as a compliment," said April. "Let's get down to business, Vanessa. Who do we need to kill?" May asked. Right then, Vanessa realized she was the unspoken leader of the crew. More than that, she realized she was in the presence of killers. "We'll get to that later. But first, welcome to Port City. Do you like seafood?" asked June, helping Vanessa with her bags. "I'm from New Orleans. What do you think?" Vanessa retorted. "Well, then, let us take you out, and then we'll get you settled, and then we'll talk about why Mr. King brought you up here," said June, leading the way out of the airport. Artemis was sitting by the pool in her two-piece neon pink BCBG swimsuit. She was sipping a New Orleans original 190 octane daiquiri. She was soaking up some sun and thinking about the events of the day. She had on a big pair of acetate shades by Fendi, and that concealed her occasional tear. She had lost a sister and gained a brother, yet she still felt alone because she didn't have any direction for her life. She rubbed her stomach. She had been feeling awfully nauseous recently. "Well, the reality show dream is over," she said to herself. Aries had forbidden her to leave the city until everything settled down, and on top of that, she was going to have a security detail with her at night. She didn't have a choice in the matter, but understood that her family could become targets. She realized that her days as a socialite were gone for the time being. She realized she had to do something with her time since having her money wasn't making her happy. She thought about Sophia, who was around her own age, and with little money still had a purpose and a goal. Even her friend Paige had a job recently. Even her friend Paige had a job having recently been promoted. She felt worthless and would usually call Athena to talk, but that wasn't an option now. Then her thoughts wandered to her mother and the dream she had about Paris. She ended up crying and then falling asleep. And scene. So that was chapter 27 and 28 of the kingdom. We gonna go away and then we gonna come right back. So don't go nowhere. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're back here down at the corner with your Almond Delights. And this week we will begin our read of The Kingdom by yours truly, Mr. McShakie. You guys go over to Amazon.com and download your books today or purchase the paperback, whichever one you decide. But go over also to his YouTube channel, McShakie Live, and subscribe. You guys check the description box below for all of the links that you will need to download your book as well as to subscribe to his channel. Also, go over to Instagram.com and follow him there. Y'all, we about to start reading. Let's see what it's going to be about. Get your mugs and sip slow. We over here reading, y'all. And we are back, honey. Listen, it's the wind down is here. The wind down is here. We are on chapter 29 of the kingdom, honey. It's almost over. Chapter 29, the next week. Raymond Buster King's funeral was held at Galilee Baptist Church in the lakeside area of Shreveport, Louisiana. Buster's mother, Sandra, and younger sisters, Raynell, were emotional wrecks and had no problem expressing their grief. Buster's father, Warren, tried to hold it together for the sake of his wife and daughters, but ended up breaking down as well. Buster was his only son, and he had already lost his oldest daughter, Rain, to the game. But who took the cake was the eldest living king, family matriarch Ethel, who cried so much that she fainted. Apollo grew up in the church, but there was nothing that prepared him for a true Southern Christian homegoing. He was amazed at the lively and soulful sending off service. At the service, Apollo got a chance to meet the extended King family. There were a host of relatives in attendance, and he got a picture of his prolific bloodline. The family was told that there was a mix-up at the hospital during Aries and Apollo's birth, and that is what led to their separation. The family generally accepted the story as twin births tended to run in the King family. Warren owned a 20-acre luxury resort-style ranch just outside of Shreveport in Bossier Parish. It was unrivaled in the area and sat overlooking the Bossier Red River. It had everything from a gun range to horse stables and was named King Cypress Ranch for all the cypress trees along the acreage. Warren had invited Aries and Apollo over to his impressive retreat after the service, and they were all on his plantation-style lanai having drinks. Strange thing not seeing Athena at the funeral. She and Buster were very close. Wonder why she would miss it, Warren said to Aries. Athena has been missing for over a week. She took off last week when I gave Apollo the CEO position, saying she needed a vacation from all the madness. But I thought she would show up at the funeral, Aries said, electing not to tell Warren the truth about what went down with Athena. We'll relay the message that I intend to find out who murdered my son, and whomever is responsible is going to bleed, said Warren intently. Aries was silent. He knew his uncle's rap sheet. Warren was a mafia boss, independent of the kings in New Orleans. Warren was taught the game by Zeus, and the murder game from Warren, he was a combo himself and was a legend in his own right. Warren was official, and Aries knew he meant those words. Aries, though, didn't need that type of heat at the moment. Apollo noticed his brother's resistance to speak, and his instinct was to throw him a lifesaver. Mr. King, Apollo began, but was quickly interrupted. No, Apollo, we are family. You call me Uncle Warren. There's no need to address me formally, he said, lightly scolding his new nephew. Excuse me, you're right. Uncle Warren, Aries expressed to me that he wants Buster's murderer to suffer just as much as you do. Apollo lied. Grunted Warren. Somebody ain't doing something right when motherfuckers think they can touch a king, especially in New Orleans. Warren took a sip of his bourbon on the rocks. Nonetheless, Apollo, I hear you are doing big things over at King Enterprises. Pause. Disclaimer. There will be cussing. You know, I'm reading the book. This ain't Almond Brown. I'm just reading the book. Okay. Yes, Uncle Warren. I have just completed a very strategic warehouse acquisition, along with new efficiency policies while projecting profits across the board. There is no reason why King Enterprises should be basically breaking even. It should be making a lot more money, so I planned on spearheading a move to take the company public, stated Apollo. Hell, sounds like great news for my stocks. Y'all got the fierceness of your mother. Y'all are more calculated than Zeus, though. It's like y'all got a slick side like Warren. I'm proud of you and Aries both. Even without Athena, You two are holding things together. I know my brother would be proud, Warren said. Your brother is proud, said Weldon King, walking up to them with a shot glass filled with bourbon in his hand. I was speaking of their father, said Warren, with a slight hint of disdain in his voice. He loved his brother Weldon, but they had a classic rivalry that went back so far they couldn't even remember what it was over. But nephews, we are all proud of you. Weldon greeted them all. He too was troubled of the loss of Buster, who he had personally trained. I'm glad you're here, Weldon. I have decided about my King Enterprises board seat. I intended to pass it down to my son, but since he's no longer with us, I don't want it. I have a bad taste in my mouth about the things going on in New Orleans, and I have my own company to think about. I would like to give up my seat, explained Warren. Aries looked on confused. A seat on the King Enterprises board of directors was a highly coveted prize. Oh, what are you saying? If it is okay with you, Mr. Chairman, and you, Mr. CEO, Warren said, addressing Aries and Apollo respectfully, since Zeus left Weldon out of the will, I'd like to give him my seat on the board. Apollo looked over at Aries, and after a moment, Aries spoke. I don't have a problem with it. I still don't understand why Dad left you out of the will anyway. How about you, Apollo? Apollo was silent for a moment. Weldon, sensing his hesitation, decided to make his plea. Apollo, you haven't met him, but Zeus, and if he doesn't come out of the coma, you may never get the chance. But he is a testy man. If the smallest thing pissed him off, he became unforgiving. But if you let me, I'd really like that board seat. I'll agree to it on one condition. I'm preparing to take King Enterprises to the next stage, and I am a newbie, so to speak. I have a position available as executive consultant, and no one is more qualified to fill it than you. It would be an honor to have you on the board and at the office, said Apollo. Weldon smiled and embraced Apollo. Ares looked on, glad that his uncles and the rest of his family were easily accepting his brother. In the past week, they had got to know each other and reestablished their bond. And just like for everyone else, accepting Apollo came naturally. Artemis hated funerals and had claimed an illness not to have to attend. Ares knew Apollo pushed the issue. She had been throwing up and eating strange lately. Apollo had stepped into the role of big brother easily. Seeing that Artemis was in a slump, he tried to get her motivated to figure out her place in the world. You are a beautiful and exotic looking model or acting. You are beautiful and exotic looking. Modeling or acting might be your forte, or perhaps your own cosmetics line. You also have a great personality to use it to sell your brand, he told her. But she brushed it off, as is too much work. She understood what he was trying to get her to do, but she didn't have the slightest clue as to how to begin. To get out of the house, she called up Paige and decided to go shopping. Shopping was one thing that always made her feel euphoric. She stopped into one of her favorite boutiques on Magazine Street, and he likes to ask me my opinion. It was hell working for your sister, but Apollo is a dream, Paige said as Artemis browsed the clothes rack. Paige had been going on and on about Apollo nonstop. It was obvious that she had a crush on him. Yeah, yeah, Apollo this, Apollo that, Artemis said. This dress is hideous. She held up a Roach's flannel number. It looks fine to me, shrugged Paige, as if Artemis put the dress back. She was thoroughly disgusted. She was in an upscale and trendy boutique. It was New Orleans leader. It was New Orleans' leader in high-end fashion, but it had nothing on the styles and selection she found in New York. She had experienced the best in the Big Apple, and nothing in the Big Easy could compare. She left the store irritated, wishing she could take another trip to New York just to shop. So, what about the guard Aries has for you? He is fine. Artemis looked over at Malik, a tall, slim, dark skinned, slim dude that Artemis had been trying to get into the bedroom since he began shadowing her. However, Malik was all about his business and didn't even play with Artemis. Who, Malik? Girl, he lame. Anyway, I wish someone would open up a shop in New Orleans that had some of the styles and selections that compared to New York. They would get all of my money, Artemis said. She was leaving out of the boutique irritated. Artemis, is anybody home? Rhetorically asked Paige. They walked up the street on their way to the cafe to get a bite to eat. Malik followed a step or two behind them. What? She asked as they passed an empty outlet. It had a huge sign on the door that read, Commercial Space for Lease. The parcel was huge and used to be a record store, but passing the spot was not enough for Artemis. She was the type that wouldn't get out of the way of traffic. She wouldn't know to move until the bus hit her. Thankfully, that day, the bus was right on time. Paige grabbed her by the shoulders and turned her in the direction of the retail space for rent. Oh, I get it. Artemis stored the number on her phone. She was going to open her own boutique. Athena wore a long black Sam Elderman cloak. She did not want to be recognized, but she had to pay her respects to Buster. When Zeus had her shipped off to stay with her uncle, it was Buster who made her transition comfortable. He treated her no different than his own sisters and always looked out for her. She had built a strong bond with her cousin and biggest supporter. She touched his headstone and wept softly. She was not completely heartless. Buster, I miss you so much. I am so sorry this happened, and I know it's all my fault. I have a feeling Aries is responsible for this, and he did it because you were loyal to me. Please forgive me, and know one thing, I will get Aries for this. Athena sobbed and touched the grave. I will never forget you. I will never forget everything you've done for me. You will forever be in my memory, and I know you'll be up there looking after me. I love you so much. You picked a winner, and I'll prove it. You didn't die in vain. Athena stood up and dropped a single blackened rose at his gravesite. I will take out Aries and we'll look out for Vanessa for you. Athena, yelled Vanessa, running up toward her. Vanessa hugged the shocked Athena. Oh my God, I thought something had happened to you. I've been trying to get in touch with you for the last 2 weeks. I've been hiding, attempting to regroup. Ares and Apollo have joined forces and my plan fell apart, Athena said as she explained the situation to Vanessa. How did you find me? You finally decided to make a phone call. I had to call the bank and get some cash wired to me. I didn't want to use my credit cards in case I was being tracked, but how did you know that I make that call? Vengeance, stated Vanessa, as she explained who the girls were. April is an expert at computers. She found out one of the towers on the area was hit by your cell, and since you were in town, I knew it would only be a matter of time before you showed up here. Vengeance, my uncle's elite murder squad is a bunch of bitches? I didn't believe it at first either, but that is what makes them so deadly. Nobody expects them. They're going to help me track down Buster's murderer, and we have been kicking it the past week. Athena was silent as Vanessa explained more about May, April, and June. A plan began formulating in her head. Vanessa, that is absolutely perfect. Now all we need to do is get an army with Vengeance's help we can take over. Athena, the reason I got in the game was because of Buster. Now that he's gone, I really don't have a reason to keep playing. Vanessa, what are you saying? I've been asked to join Vengeance, and I have agreed to it. I vibe with the girls and I'm moving on. But Vanessa, what about your own territory? I need you, Athena pleaded. I'm sorry, I'm only going back to New Orleans to avenge Buster's death, and then the girls and I are off to Dallas for the next mission. Athena nodded. She needed Vanessa and Vengeance, especially since her muscle and Buster was gone. You know, Vanessa, our missions are one and the same. How? I think I know who murdered Buster, and you're going to need me to get to them. You help me regain power and control of New Orleans, and I'll help you get Buster's killer. And then, after that, you can do whatever you want. We have a deal, said Vanessa automatically, and with that, it was sealed. Athena had her vengeance. Later that night, Ares returned to New Orleans and found out that his brother Adonis had come in town. He was anxious to meet his new brother and had invited himself over for 3 drinks. So, you ready to come back home? Asked Ares as Adonis walked into the parlor of the castle. Um, Not a chance in hell, Ares, Adonis explained as he took a seat. Ares offered him a Romeo and Julieta Cuban cigar, and they lit up. Your father is sleeping soundly now, but the chances are he will smell I'm in town and wake up like the Undertaker just to tell me how his firstborn son is an embarrassment. The real question is, how are things here? Stated Adonis, puffing. I don't know where to begin, bro, said Ares, and then he told Adonis the whole story about how Athena found Apollo and had him switched. Adonis listened, only interrupting here and there to ask a question. Ares explained how now Apollo was like his better half. Athena is sick, Adonis said. I, I mean, I love her to death, but Sus got some major problems for real. You are preaching to the choir, big bro. What do you intend to do about her? I promised God that I would not kill her. I mean, she is our sister Ares, yet she is Zeus's daughter too. You and I know that she will remain a thorn in your side. She will not give up. I know, and I will have to deal with that when I find her. Until then, I will take my frustrations out on the NOPD. What do you mean? I'm going to kill every cop, deputy, and jailer that was working the night I got arrested, said Ares, starting with Detective Buck Horton. Ares, what? Adonis stated, dumbfounded. Ares explained his mission to wipe out every officer that worked on the shift that arrested and booked him. He was going to order hits on several of New Orleans' finest to prove a point. They had to go. Ares, are you sick too? What are you going to do when the feds really have you under siege? You are talking about the killing of police, and then several of them. The heat will come from Washington, and there isn't any buying your way out of that. You are in charge and have a great responsibility. Now is your chance to exceed Zeus's expectations of you. If he does wake up, he will see that he made the right choice in leadership. The days of being rage driven are over. Now you must be thought driven. Think about what you're getting yourself and our family into. You're right, big brother, was all Ares could say. Maybe Zeus was wrong. You are cut out for this. Adonis rolled his eyes, crossed his legs, and shook his head no. Chapter 30. The next month. What's the next matter on the docket? Asked Judge Jonathan Laporte to his clerk. He was sitting on the bench of his division of the New Orleans Parish Criminal Courthouse, located on the corner of Tulane and Broad Avenues. The state of Louisiana versus Apollo Robinson, Your Honor, said the clerk. Cynthia Semino in for the defendant, Your Honor. I ask that the defendant's presence be waived for purposes of this motion, she said. Judy Roussell for the state. We don't object to the defendant's absence, said the assistant district attorney. Good. We are here to rule on the defense's motion to quash due to lack of evidence. I have read your briefs, Miss Semino. You can begin, said Judge Laporte. The rest of the court proceeding was for show. The judge had already made his calling. Cynthia presented an excellent argument pointing out the circumstantial evidence in the prosecution's case. The inmate who was killed had a history of violence against other prisoners and guards, and it was obviously self-defense. Even if she did not have the judge in her pocket, she probably would have won the motion. I'm ready to rule, Judge Laporte hit his gavel after hearing both sides. In the matter of the state of Louisiana versus Apollo Robinson, I'm granting the defense's motion to quash with prejudice. The state cannot revisit charges even if it discovers more evidence. Your Honor, we reserve the right to, the prosecutor began. Get it right the first time in my courtroom, Miss Roussell. The motion is granted, the arrest record stricken, and case dismissed. Judge Laporte said, and he banged his gavel. Thank you, Your Honor, Cynthia said as she gathered her briefcase and made her way out of the courtroom. On her way out, she was bumped by a woman who appeared to be crying. Tasha had run out of the courtroom crying. She got into her Volkswagen Jetta and sped over to the New Orleans Police Department's 2nd District Station. I need to see Detective Horton, she demanded of the receptionist. Captain Horton is currently in a meeting, the clerk said after she called his office. Fuck that, Tosh said, not caring. She marched down the hallway to the office she knew to be Detective Horton's and barged in. Ma'am, you can't go in there, the clerk called after her. Inside the office, Horton was packing. Tasha? He said, surprised when Tasha barged into his former office. Where the heck is you going? Asked Tasha angrily. Ma'am, you can't be back here, said the clerk, catching up to Tosh. You can leave Hodges. She's fine, Horton told the clerk. Yes, sir, Captain, the clerk said, walking off. Captain? Asked Renee, coming all the way into the office and closing the door. I've been promoted, he admitted. How can you get a promotion if you don't solve murders? She asked, tearing up. Captain Horton didn't want to truthfully answer that question. He was offered the position for him to get off Janelle's case. His superiors had made it clear that he was to forget all about Janelle's murder. So instead of answering the question directly, he answered it with another question. What are you talking about? Tasha explained to him what had happened in Judge Laporte's court. Captain Horton faked being surprised. He already knew what was going to happen. Tasha, I did my job. It's the prosecutor's job to put him away. Fuck you, she yelled. Janelle was my best friend and only friend. Captain Horton knew the game. There were some immensely powerful strings being pulled in Janelle's case. He felt sorry for Tasha, but the truth was she was never going to get justice. Tasha, I wish there was something more that I could do. You are a liar. You said you wouldn't rest until he was brought to justice. I'm sorry, he said. He couldn't think of anything else to say. How can you people sleep at night? Tasha cried. You don't have to do anything, but I won't rest until all of you people pay for what you've done to my friend. Tasha. No, she stopped him. You are just as guilty as the monster who pulled the trigger. She left the office, slammed the door on her way out. Horton sat down and looked at his new captain's badge and thought about his oath to serve and protect. He knew something evil was at work. He got irate with himself and threw the badge against the wall. Captain Horton arrived home. He lived on Jefferson Davis Parkway in a small 2-bedroom French-era house. He parked his car and walked up to his door. On his doorstep was a FedEx package. He picked it up and went into the house. Once inside, he looked at the package. He wasn't expecting anything, but he often ordered items off Amazon and assumed it was something off of one of his online purchases he had forgotten. He shook the light package and then broke the seal. He looked down at the box as he opened it. Then out of the box sprang a tan sawdust-type material. It went into Horton's nose and mouth and all over his face. He sneezed most instantly. What the fuck is this? A practical joke? No, it's anthrax, said Aries as he came out of the back of the house with Teddy behind him. They both had on surgical masks. Anthrax? Horton asked through coughs. The infectious bacteria had entered his nostrils and mouth. The bacteria was rapidly traveling throughout his body and making its way to Horton's brain. I told you I was going to get you. I told you that you were going to regret the fucking day, said Aries. Julian had convinced him to spare the police force, but nothing would make him spare Horton's life. Motherfucker, Horton slurred as his organs began to shut completely down. He felt the headache come on and it became hard to breathe. He tried to reach for his gun but had no control over his limbs. Anthrax was a deadly biochemical warfare weapon, and Horton was no match. He dropped dead in mid-stride. He was bleeding from the eyes as the anthrax bacterium fed on his brain. Damn, Aries, that shit is vicious, Teddy said, looking at the dead body of Buck Horton. Fuck him, said Aries. I gotta get to the airport. Are you sure you've got things under control until I get back? I got it, boss. I have the cleanup crew here in a while and everything else in its place. All right, Teddy, I'm out, Aries said as he made his exit in the route to the airport. Apollo sat in the executive office once occupied by Zeus and typed a memo. He had begun a profit-sharing plan with King Motors employees to try and increase sales figures. Apollo took his job as CEO very seriously. Every decision he made was well thought out and carefully scrutinized. He knew where King Enterprises could take his new family out of the he knew where King Enterprises could take his new family out of the illegal drug business, and that was his vision. Mr. King, Ms. Myers is here to interview you for Black Enterprise magazine, said Paige in a cheery tone. Apollo loved his younger executive assistant. Not only was she beautiful, she was smart and eager to learn. Send her in. I'm ready, he instructed with a smile. She smiled back. Oh, and Mr. King, don't forget you have the ribbon cutting ceremony at the new King Imports warehouse this afternoon. I won't, Paige. Thanks, he said, updating the to-do list on his phone. She left the office, and a few minutes later, a pretty light-skinned young woman walked in. She had soft brown eyes and a fair complexion and was dressed casually. Mr. King, I am Alice Myers, she said, extending her hand. Apollo stood up. Call me Apollo, he said, shaking her hand. He motioned for her to take a seat and he sat down himself. They talked about some of the basic items for her article as she took out her digital recorder and iPad. Thanks again for granting this interview, Apollo. I just find it fascinating that the hospital would make such a mistake and now you're running a huge national company. It is a classic rag to riches story, but it doesn't stop there. Tell me, what have you done since you've been in the driver's seat? Well, besides starting King Imports, which would import textiles and fabric supplies for manufacturing chains, I have plans to start a trucking division under the King Commercial Construction arm. But my crowning achievement is taking King Enterprises public in an initial offering scheduled for next quarter. Right. We just learned that you were seeking fast track SEC approval. Can you tell us just how going public is going to work exactly? King Enterprises is a family company and will remain in family possession. We are issuing out around 40% of available stocks with the family maintaining controlling interest. It will generally double the existing stock value and we can be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Forbes magazine has estimated that it may quadruple the stock value and essentially catapult your family's net worth. How does it feel to be on the verge of becoming the South's first black billionaires? Well, Alice, of course that sounds great, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. These are figures projected by Forbes. Apollo, rich, smart, and modest? Asked Alice with a smile. Thank you, but I'm more practical than modest. Since I've been here, I've done a lot for the employees that make our company great. It's not just about the profit, it's about the people. We're not just minority owned. We are minority staff, and whenever possible, we choose minority suppliers and contractors. We do a lot for the community as well. That's what's important. That is especially important, Apollo, said Alice, scribbling a note on her iPad. A few years back, Black Enterprises got a chance to interview your father and your sister. At the time, Athena was slated to take over King Enterprises. This is, of course, was before you found out who your family was. How does she feel about you assuming the reins, so to speak? Apollo stumbled briefly. Alice, this is what I was born to do. As you know, I have a degree from NYU Stern School of Business. I'm qualified to lead this company, and I also have an excellent support system. My brother tries to remain My brother tries remains chairman of the board. Aries remains chairman of the board, And my uncle Weldon King is an executive consultant. So family is always put first. I love my sister, and I'm sure she is immensely proud of what we're doing with King Enterprises. The legacy our father built is still being honored, and I will continue to do the best I can to create my own. Wow, that's great, said Alice, turning out the recorder. Mr. King, thank you so much for your time. They shook hands and promised to keep in touch. Alice said it was a great interview and told Apollo to look forward to a great article. Apollo went back to work. A few minutes later, Paige came into the office. Apollo admired her style. Her hair was set in thick straw curls, and she wore a form-fitting Michael Kors skirt set. Sir, could you sign this for me, please? She placed the form in front of him. What's this? He asked. It's my vacation time request form. You know, I'm supposed to be going with Artemis to that fashion trade show in Los Angeles month after next so she can stock her boutique. You said I could get some time off. Oh, you can't go. I need you here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, he said playfully. He then signed the form. Thank you, Mr. King. I'm going to run down and file this with Human Resources, and I'll be back a few minutes. Paige was on her way out of the office. Paige, wait. Before you go, Apollo stopped her. She turned around. I pray you can't take this the wrong way, but I think you're a very attractive woman. I'm taking it as a compliment, so I hope that it isn't the wrong way. It certainly is not. How would you like to accompany me to the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then afterward I could take you to dinner? Apollo, a foolish woman would say yes, so I would love to. I was actually hoping that you would ask, she said, biting her bottom lip and walking out of the office. Apollo smiled. He loved being a king. Athena and Vengeance went to St. Louis, Missouri. The Russian mafia had operations there, and she intended to seek the Rashomoninovs' help in dethroning Ares. After they checked in to the St. Louis Magnolia Hotel, Athena and her new best friends met with Smirkov at the El Baracho restaurant on Locust Street. Athena, it's always a pleasure as always. It's a pleasure as always, said Smirkov in his heavy Russian accent as he greeted her. She had arrived at his personal table in the far back of the restaurant. Vengeance were seated at the bar on the other side of the bar. Smirkov was on his home turf, and so he failed to notice the girls and their oversized handbags. Smirkov, I need the Rashmanov's help, said Athena, getting down to business. To eradicate your brother, am I correct? Asked Smirkov, sipping a vodka tonic. He has gone too far, and he has intentions on working with the Gambino family. He had meetings set up with the Don Carmine Gambino before he ousted me. I need your army so that I can assume control that will ensure continued relations between the Rashmanovs and the kings. Athena, I detest your brother. He is arrogant, spiteful, and uncouth. So I personally want to help you. But, began Athena, but the family has decided not to engage itself in the internal affairs of the King family. So far, Aries has done nothing to violate our business arrangement or warrant his removal. What about your lieutenant that we know he killed? That was quickly repaid, said Smirkov, speaking of Lonnie. Aries will betray you for the Gambinos. Of this, I am certain, and you now have a chance to prevent that from ever happening. Athena failed to mention that once she was in power, she was going to betray them anyway. Athena has just dispersed a shipment for us and another in the works. Our relationship with the current king regime is working simply fine for now. Additionally, there is a chance your father regains consciousness. The family's position is if it isn't broke, don't fix it. I have direct orders from Chodron Rashmanov himself not to get our troops involved. If Ares becomes a problem, we will destroy him and install our own in that position without your help. Athena was livid. She expected the Russians to have her back. She was running out of options. She knew Aries was on a high alert and probably actively searching for her. She needed a fortified army and fast. You tell the family for me that they will regret not helping me. I seriously doubt that, Athena. You do know who we are. You are sounding like your brother. Get off your power trip. Daddy isn't here to hold your hand right now. This is the pros. If you cannot handle your own egotistical little brother, how can you expect to make the Roshmanov family regret anything? Athena smiled and stood up. It's been a pleasure as always, Smirkov. Smirkov lifted his glass and nodded as Athena walked off. She walked toward the bar area. Vengeance were having a few drinks and talking when Athena walked in. Ladies, their first assignment is the man I was just talking to. No witnesses. The ladies of Vengeance all took out the weapons that were in their purses. They lived for what they were about to do. Athena heard cries and screams as she left the restaurant. Smirkov thought he was untouchable on his own turf and underestimated mercilessly Athena King, and that proved to be a fatal mistake. Vengeance didn't leave a single witness. The entire restaurant staff, all the customers, chefs, waitresses, and even the bartender were brutally executed at the hands of the four women. Every breathing soul unfortunate enough to be in the El Baracho was massacred, including Smirkov. Ares learned of Athena's plan for the warehouse, and with the Italian deal falling through, he was forced to deal with the Russians at least temporarily. The warehouse was being opened now meant the kingdom and private port The warehouse being open now meant that the kingdom had private port access, and that is why he flew to Mexico. The cartel de Sinaloa was the most powerful and notorious Mexican mafia. Ares had flown down to Guadalajara to meet with the cartel's powerful and mysterious leader El Chapo Guzman. It was Ares' first time in Mexico, and he adored the majesty of the countryside as he was escorted by El Azul, one of El Chapo's most trusted advisors, to El Chapo's extravagant mansion. Once inside the palatial structure Ares was escorted to, the patio where El Azul left him alone. Moments later appeared a short, olive-skinned, older Mexican man. He wore a custom-tailored Italian slack and shirt set and had impeccable style. Without saying a word, the man's power and presence was felt. This reminded Ares of Zeus. Joaquin Guzman Leora was the most powerful man in Mexico. El Chapo Guzman, Ares said, extending his hand. Senor King, El Chapo said, shaking Ares' hand. The men greeted each other and conversed generally before getting down to business. My sister could not follow through, so I'm here to represent my family in negotiating this deal, Ares explained after El Chapo asked about Athena. You don't come here as a representative. You come here as a leader. Ares nodded. My sister had a genius plan, and I want to carry it out. You know my position with the Russians, but I wish to now be independent, so I'd like to make a purchase arrangement with you. I plan on taking care of shipping and receiving, so I'm here to determine prices. Straight to the point, said El Chapo. His voice was deep and clear. His English was concise, laced with Mexican Spanish. My father taught me that the direct approach was always the best. I agree with that. So I will directly inform you that my clientele is consistent and buys in heavy volume. The minimum order I consider is 1,000 kilos per month. No consignment. Aries chuckled. I'll need 4 times that, at least. I have to cut one of my other clients to fulfill that order. Now, why would I do that? I can guarantee to purchase at least that many for the next 12 months. That is the minimum I'll ever purchase. I have to be able to supply the entire Southeast and Midwest. I can do it for 3,000 a kilo. You will do it for 1,000 a key. I'm handling transportation and I'm prepaying. Aries, this is pure cocoa. You will not find anything this flawless on the entire continent. Try 2,500 a kilogram. I am offering you a guaranteed buy purchase for the next 12 months. Soon you won't even need another client. I'll pay 1,500. That I accept, Aries said, shaking El Chapo Guzman's hand. They made arrangements to transfer the first $8 million payment. Aries knew that was the fairest price he could expect. El Chapo snapped his fingers and in came Armando, his personal driver, with two flutes of Don Perignon. To our continued relationship, El Chapo said, raising his glass. Aries clicked glasses with him. Now, Senor King, allow me to show you some of the finest senoritas that Mexico has to offer. Aries was excited to say the least. The deal was worth hundreds of millions of dollars a year. The kingdom only netted a tenth of that transporting for the Russians. His father would be proud. Chapter 30, weeks later. Yes, Chardon, I will meet with you. The kings have crossed the line this time, said Don Carmine Gambino into the phone. He was seated at the grill room at the Four Seasons in New York and was not happy. The kings had attained a level of success he didn't see coming, and he hadn't gotten his revenge. The silver lining around the cloud was the fact that the Russians had been double-crossed as well, and they wanted to meet with him to discuss their mutual nuisance. You are correct, Chardon. My enemy's enemy is my friend. Don Carmine Gambino made arrangements and agreed to meet in the next couple of weeks, and then the Don hung up the phone. He was enjoying his meal when one of the goons approached the table. Sir, this came from Detective Derulo, the goon said, handing Don the folder. The Don took it and opened it. It was a copy of the article about Apollo that appeared in Black Enterprises. The Don read every word carefully. Well, I'll be damned. That is the connection between Apollo Robinson and the King family, said the Don. These people are within our range. I want them obliterated. The Don pointed to the names of Apollo adopted parents that appeared in the article. I'll send a message myself. It isn't often that the leader of a large criminal enterprise gets to rest, but then the opportunity came. Aries took full advantage of it. It was a partly cloudy Sunday, and Aries was determined to do absolutely nothing. He had been going nonstop for the past several weeks, and it was one of the few games he was able to truly relax. Aries had spent the entire day lounging around the mansion in his pajamas. It wasn't until he got a call from Adonis that he decided to do anything. Aries enjoyed his talks with his brother. He was always left with some words of wisdom. Adonis truly had no interest in the king's money or power and was still intensely loyal. It was he who Aries turned to when he wanted an unbiased perspective. Adonis, what's good? Said Aries, asked Aries as he answered. Nothing much, Aries. I just wanted to hear your voice, I guess. You have been on the go so much these past few weeks, and I like to keep up with what's going on. Nothing wrong with that, bro. Everything good? You can say that, laughed Adonis. So where's Apollo? Apollo had that corporate conference in Atlanta this weekend. Okay. So how are you two getting along? Honestly, Adonis, it's funny how different we are, but at the same time, so much alike. Aries laughed. He compliments me. He is the yin to my yang. We work well together because we each know our role. I feel like we're an unstoppable team. He's great at stuff I'm horrible at. I would never be able to do the things he's doing with the company. It's growing. It's huge. Our family's net worth is over $1 billion. Apollo is better at that stuff than Dad was. It allows me to do what I'm good at and give him more money to work with. That's good, approved Adonis. Now that I'm in control and can concentrate on the kingdom, it's growing as well. We've never seen cash like this. Even after expenses, we are clearing something million every 3 months. Whew. For the first time, our family is not depending on the pasta eaters, the Vosk, or the vodka drinkers. Speaking of the Italians and Russians, I hear they both are pretty upset with you. The Italians because they feel you disrespected their leader, and the Russians because they blame you for Smirkov's death. I didn't have dude killed, but I shake the hand of whoever did. Forget the Russians and the Italians didn't lose anything. Aren't you worried about retaliation? Not at all, bro. I want either of them to try and touch me. The more money I clear, the more I put into firepower and recruiting soldiers. I currently have more niggas than in NAACP, and they all young and hungry, ready to die and kill for me. I could probably take over a small country. So the Rashmanovs and the Gambinos, don't bother me. What about Athena? I have people trying to find her. She isn't on the radar. I can't see her just giving up. That doesn't bother me, Ares lied. If she wants to fight, I'll bring it to her too. While the Russians or the Italians didn't worry him, Athena King did. She was a purebred gangster and the last person he wanted at his hat. Now I see. Speaking of our sisters, how's Artemis doing? Actually, Artemis has really surprised me lately. How so? Well, she rented a retail space and she's working to open a shop. Wait, did you just mention Artemis and working in the same sentence? Yes, believe it. She is working hard on her clothing store. She wants to have her name as a socialite to sell fashion. I think it will be successful because she is putting her all into it. She is in Los Angeles this weekend with Paige and a purchaser attending a fashion trade show. I am truly proud of her, said Julian. How are your legal issues with the federal government? Well, Cynthia met with the U.S. attorney and threatened to expose them with the Vernon Taylor evidence we had. She also threatened to file suit on the harassment and excessive investigation attempts they have done on our family. They apologized, and the deputy director of the FBI assured us they would not try to implant another mole. What about the guy that killed the agent for you? Marlon Gaines? I'm going to get him in due time. He hasn't caught from Teddy in a while, so I have no idea where he is, but he must show up. He buys nearly 300 bricks a month for the West Bank. There's no one else around that can supply that much for him but me. Aries, never allow your personal feelings to get in the way of business. You have to understand everyone was confused at the time. I'll keep that in mind, bro. But I don't spare no nigga, said Aries sternly. Nor do I fear any. I understand, Aries. You are your own man. That's why I love you. That's what I love about you. And the reason I have decided to tell you the truth about our Adonis began but was interrupted by Aries' phone beeping. Aries looked at his phone. One sec, bro. It's Rodessa. He answered the call. Hello? Well, hi, baby daddy. I am still alive and only carrying your firstborn, Rose said, so that Aries could hear her attitude through the phone. Rose, what did I do? My bad. You know I've been busy with this money. Yeah, I read about it in Black Enterprise, but that's no excuse. You can still call and check on me sometimes. You're right, Aries conceded, trying to avoid an argument. Look, why don't you come back home and we'll spend some quality time together? Just you and me. I would love to, but I can't right now. Why? You found another man? He asked playfully. No, she said. I'm on temporary bed rest. That statement brought Aries to attention. Ro, why are you on bed rest? Is there something wrong with the baby? Last week, I went for my checkup and my OBGYN said I was unusually large for 5 months. So she did a sonogram and discovered something that no one knew was there. Ro, you scare me. Tell me what was there. Aries, calm down. There's nothing wrong with our babies. Oh, good. Wait, did you say babies? As in more than one? Yeah, she laughed. Aries, I'm having your twins. Whoa, that's excellent news. Aries cheered. Look, I'll hop on the jet tonight. I'm coming to see you. No, you ain't got to do all of that. Now, Rodessa, I'm coming there. I want to touch you and my sons. How do you know they're going to be boys? What if we have two girls or a boy and a girl? Nah, bro, I'm about to have two little gangsters. He laughed. I'll see you tonight. Aries got off the phone with Rodessa and clicked back to Adonis. Is everything okay? Asked Adonis, worried. Everything is perfect, said Aries as he explained the call. That is great news, Aries. So, what is it you were saying before I got the call? You know what, Aries? It can wait. Go to Rodessa. All right, big bro, said Aries as he hung up his phone and ran off to pack a few things. Adonis saw his way out, saving the secret that would have to wait another. Aries saw his way out, saving the secret that would have to wait for another chapter. Weldon King was living lavish. He was back in his element, having a cushy job at King Enterprises, being part of the collective billions, and the kingdom gaining a stronghold on the cocaine market was all exciting to him. He also got to witness firsthand Ares and Apollo reap the benefits of his own labor and could not be prouder. He didn't think life would get much better. Nothing could change his new lot or that of Ares and Apollo, except for Zeus waking up, and that was the only thing that stood in his way. He arrived on the private floor of University Medical Center and made his way to the private room that his brother occupied. He noticed the long guard that stood at the entrance. He was known in the King family, so the guard greeted him, stood up, and let him in. Take a break. I'll stay with him for a while, explained Weldon. The guard shook his head in the affirmative and left the area. Weldon entered and saw his brother in the bed. There were tubes and needles in him. The only sound was the occasional beat of the heart monitor and the constant pressurizing of the ventilator. I love you, he said to his brother, but I love her more. She loved me. That drove you to hate her because of her love for me, but you drove her to it. You drove her into my arms with all your affairs, putting work first. You ignored her. To you, she was a possession, but to me, she was a queen, and that made you hate her, and then, of course, hate our greatest creation. Zeus's heart monitor skipped a beat, then started beeping faster. Weldon jerked a pillow that was behind Zeus free and began to place it over his head. Well, almost everything is as it should be now. Tonight, dear brother, the saga of the great Wyatt King ends. Your reign over this kingdom is over. Then she can come back, and my sons can make great what you and your wretched offspring could never do. That's right, my sons. He pulled the ventilator off his brother's mouth, and Zeus's natural as Zeus's body naturally had a reflex as it gasped, not used to breathing on its own. He then placed the pillow over his brother's face. He began cutting off Zeus's circulation. At that moment, he heard a gun click and felt a cold steel on the back of his neck. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Uncle, the powerful voice said. Niece, you shouldn't be here. If Ares found out, he. Walter began as he slowly took the pillow off Zeus's face. Put the ventilator back in, and slowly, Athena ordered. Walter did as he was told. Put your hands up as high as they can go and turn around, very slowly. Athena, Ares is looking for you, stated Weldon with his voice kind of shaky. Ares is out of town, Athena said, removing her hood. What sons? Athena, how much did you hear? Weldon asked. Don't change the subject. What sons? You have no children, she stated. Niece, I will answer your questions because I think you will understand, but please, indulge me at least momentarily. Why are you back? I had to come see for myself. What did you have to see? This, she said, throwing the latest edition of the Black Enterprise on the bed, in which Apollo, Ares, and Weldon graced the cover. I was slightly irritated at this, Uncle Weldon. You've hooked up with the brothers. Athena, your brothers asked me to come back. I couldn't refuse. I can see that, Uncle Weldon, she said as she checked her Weldon for weapons and removed a Glock in his hip and a small revolver in his leg holster. My plotting and planning has blown up in my face, and my back is against the wall. Athena, I'm sorry I can't help you. You can refuse me, but you can't refuse my brothers. Uncle, you always seem to be partial to Aries' side. Now this, how do you choose your nephews or your niece? I'm not choosing between nephews and a niece, Athena. You are asking me to choose between a niece and my sons, he admitted. What are you talking about? Aries and Apollo are my sons, Athena. This is what you overheard me saying. That's impossible. They have my mother's eyes and everything, Athena stated in disbelief. Eyes that I love. Athena, your father had affairs on your mother, and so she decided to have one on him. She chose me. I don't believe you. It's true. I fathered Ares and Apollo. That's why I couldn't destroy Apollo like Zeus ordered me to. That's what your father found out before his stroke. So that's why he left you out of the will? How could I kill my own son? This is too unreal. But true, said Weldon. I always kept track of Apollo's achievements, and as I'm getting old, I wanted him near, so I pressured the bank to offer him a job or told them I'd get Zeus to move all his accounts. They did, and he came. I didn't expect Zeus to one day take a stroll in the bank. He saw Apollo, and then he had a private investigator confirm through DNA that Apollo was the baby in question, all grown up. The test actually confirmed that Apollo was not his son, and so that meant Ares was not either. So you did betray my father, but I loved your mother and spared your brother. He didn't care about Ariana, Gordon defended. I loved the ground that she walked on. She was a beautiful, strong, intelligent woman. It's where you get it from. Your father broke her spirit. He broke her down with his overbearing, sleeping around and cheating. I loved her. I also loved my children. So you see, Athena, I cannot help you destroy your brothers. I want this war, this rivalry to be over. That's why I'm telling you something I intended to take to my grave, Warden said, and finished his drink in one last gulp. Well, Uncle, it's a pity you almost did, Athena said with an icy stare. Niece, no! He strained for his life as the pain shot through his chest. The hollow point bullet tore right through his heart. She looked at her father, and everything made so much sense to her now. Ares and Apollo were her half brothers. She formulated her plan at that point. She knew exactly what she had to do. She took one last look at her dead uncle and comatose father and left the hospital. Zeus's heart monitor began to beep at normal pace. Walden's life slipped away. Walden's life slipped away, thought about all his good king, and realized that after his entire life bloodshed, killing, and murder, Athena was the true king. Child. Epilogue. Sometime later. Entering the city of New Orleans from the west on Interstate 10, the first thing there is are huge cemeteries. Subsequently, there are the final viewing leaving New Orleans. This is symbolic as death is common in the most murderous city in America. Death is not all powerful. It is dependent on one thing. Without life, there should be no death. Death is only part of life. Miss King, said Malik, knocking on the bathroom door. Artemis had went into the bathroom and hadn't come out. They were at the Princess Fashions boutique, and Malik was her personal security detail. The store hadn't opened yet, but Artemis spent a lot of time there getting it ready. Artemis, are you all right? There was no answer. Malik got worried and opened the door. Inside, he found Artemis with her face in the commode. He could smell the vomit and knew she had been throwing up. He knew that she had been sick the last couple of days. Artemis, something is wrong with you. I'm fine, she said. Her eyes were red and her face was flushed. No, you're not. I'm taking you to the hospital so we can find out what the deal is. Malik went over and helped her up. I know what it is, Malik, stated Artemis. I'm pregnant. Death is blind. It does not have picks. It does not have choices. Young or old, rich or poor, guilty or innocent, death does not care. Apollo sat in the office and was busy working on a presentation for the board. King Enterprises was going public soon and he needed everything in order. Mr. King, a Barbara Johnson is on the line for you, said Paige through the intercom. Can you take a message, my love? He said, hitting the intercom button off. He and Paige had been seriously and exclusively dating for a while, and they were slowly falling in love with each other. She says it's an emergency. Isn't everything? He thought to himself. Barbara Johnson was a lifelong member of his father's church, and ever since they found out he was a multimillionaire, everyone wanted a handout. Apollo paid more college tuitions, furniture notes, and phone bills in the last month than the church had members. He paid so many electric bills that he seriously thought about investing in an energy company. He didn't have time to entertain Sister Johnson, whose son probably got into more trouble and needed to be bonded out of jail again. He took the call anyway. Robinson King, he said into the receiver. Apollo, baby, are you sitting down? Asked Sister Johnson, sounding frantic. Yes, what is it? It's about your parents, baby. I don't even want to tell you this over the phone. Sister Johnson, what is going on? Apollo stated. She had his full attention. The Reverend and Miss Etta, baby, they were murdered. They were both killed last night, shot execution style. Apollo was silent. He could not move. He could not breathe. He couldn't even blink. His head began pounding as the news sank in that his parents had been murdered. Death is defined as the end of life. When change occurs, it means the old way is dead, or in some cases, the old habits. Adonis stretched before he got into the limousine. The flight from LAX to Los Angeles to the Herlican International Airport on the Isles of Crete in Greece seemed like it took forever. It was a trip he had taken several times, but to him, it never seemed to get any shorter. He thought about the events of his drama-filled family over the past few months and shook his head. He didn't even know how to begin to tell the story to the one person that it mattered to the most. As the limo pulled in front of the palatial mansion, Adonis hesitated to get out. Something inside him told him he was not at all ready to tell what he knew, and something told him he was certainly not ready for the reaction from whom he had to tell it to. It was summer in Greece, and the cool breeze from the nearby Mediterranean Sea made him smile and almost made the dread of the message he was going to deliver bearable. He walked up the stairs of the expertly landscaped cold stone walkway, noticed the statues of the Greek gods, Athena, Artemis, and Ares, and one he never paid much attention to, but certainly it was there, the one of Apollo. He proceeded into the mansion. He was greeted in Greek by the butler and shown to the study where he poured himself a drink. Usually Adonis preferred the more flavor-spilled spirits of martinis and juice-laden cocktails, but this day he opted for something much stronger. Bourbon on the rocks? Came the voice of the lady of the house. It was soft, elegant, but icy at the same time. Adonis, you are becoming your father. Adonis turned and saw her in all her regal splendor. She was older, but her Creole genes were naturally fighting back the signs of aging. She wore a simple white Christian Dior dress with a long brimmed black hat with the white bow. She appeared majestic. He is not my father. Yes, he may have donated some sperm and chromosome or two, but trust me, I am nothing like him. My apologies, Adonis. I forget sometimes you have a lot of disdain for him. So, when were you going to tell me that you were in love with Weldon, mother? Ariana King didn't flinch at the revelation. She simply nodded. Adonis, there were things that even you, my bright boy, would not understand. Well, your boyfriend is dead, sped Adonis for the reaction from his mother. She gave none. Adonis proceeded to tell her much about the happenings, and then he hit her with the one thing that did get a reaction. You mean to tell me they found Apollo and he is alive? She said. Her crystal clear, deep hazel eyes were welling with tears. Adonis confirmed this to be true. We must return to New Orleans at once, she declared. Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what does inside of us. The greatest loss is what dies inside of us while we live. Rodessa had come back to New Orleans, and Aries had moved with her into the mansion. She lay in his arms as he rubbed her stomach. She already felt connected to his seeds. He was excited to be a father and had many ambitions for his children. He wanted to be the world's best father and provider, and that means changing himself. Let's get married, babe, Aries said. What? Rodessa said, only half believing what she heard. I don't want my kids growing up with two single parents. I want them to grow with me and you together as a family. So the only reason you want to marry me is because I'm carrying your children? Nah, Ro. I asked you to marry me because I love you. I do think about you all fucking day. You know you my heart, and I want to be more than just your man. I want to be the one that you wake up to every day. I'm your soulmate. Rodessa teared up, but didn't cry. Aries, you aren't ready to leave all those women alone. Ro, believe me, if that's what it takes, I'll change for you. But babe, I'm in. I've been through a lot lately, and I ain't who I used to be. Fucking and what and fucking and with just any and everybody ain't what's up. You it for me? Rodessa stared him in the eyes and felt that he was being honest. She could not deny her strong feelings for him, and her heart was already filled with love for Aries. All right, I will marry you, but the minute I find out you fucking over me, I'm gonna cut your dick off. So then how you gonna get you? I know you love this meat, he said playfully as he ground into her back, letting her feel him growing. That little thing, I'm gonna put it in the freezer and keep it for rough times, she said, laughing. He had begun to fondle her breast. You gonna do me like that? Then I'm gonna burn off your pussy. He said, nibbling her ear and was getting turned on. Ooh, I need that boy. Don't burn it off. Show me what you need it for, he said seductively, and they proceeded to make love. If the wages for sin is death, then the wages for death is vengeance. Marlon dialed Athena's number again, and just like all the other times, his calls were directed to voicemail. He had been calling her every day since the accident at the mansion and couldn't get in touch with her for anything. He turned his phone off and then went back to the two super sexy strippers. Marlon went to Miami for business, but was currently engaged in a little pleasure. He met with a cartel of Haitians in an attempt at securing a new cocaine connect. He feared that Aries was going to cut him off. After his productive meeting, he decided to visit the world famous strip club, King of Diamonds. There he met Bambi and Bunny, the double B's with the double D's as they were known. Marlon was infatuated with both Bambi, the Dominican beauty, and Bunny, the Puerto Rican Buffy. They were infatuated with the money that Marlon was burning at the club. So you think you can handle both of us, Poppy? Asked Bambi as they entered his room at the Roadway Inn Motel off I-95. Marlon had rented a room at a discreet motel off the freeway under the name of his deceased father. The motel was cheap and run down, but Bambi didn't care. She was after Marlon's money. I sure think he can, Bunny said. She had her hands in Marlon's pants, squeezing his growing manhood. She then escorted Marlon to the bed, and the women started giving him a sensual and sexually charged striptease. Marlon was throwing crisp $100 bills at the women as they touched and fondled each other. He was in heaven. He paid them $2,000 each and planned to enjoy every penny of the threesome that was about to go down. Let's get this started, Poppy, said Bambi as she undid Marlon's pants and began giving him a hot, steamy blowjob. Marlon was loving it. He put his head back and closed his eyes as Bambi slurped on his pole. That just happened to be all the time that Bunny needed. Bunny went over to the door and slung it open. In the room ran a hooded man brandishing a 9mm handgun. Bambi stopped sucking Marlon and got up. Marlon looked up and saw the gun pointed at his face. You know what fucking time it is, thug. Nothing smart. We just want to cash in the jewelry. Marlon realized immediately he had been set up. The pussy had put him in a position to be caught slipping. Marlon pulled up his pants. He pulled up his pants and then put his hands up in surrendering position. The woman began searching the room and gathering Marlon's valuables. On the ground, nigga, said the gunman. He saw Marlon was seething. At first, Marlon just stared at the man. Anger could not describe how he felt. Then the gunman let off a warning shot. The woman gasped and jumped at the load pop. At that moment, Marlon knew there was no alternative but to do as he was told. He got caught with his pants down. He got on the floor face down. The gunman had his weapon trained on Marlon. Then out of nowhere, a single bullet traveled through the gunman's head. Blood splashed everywhere as the gunman's lifeless body hit the floor. The women started screaming as the door slammed shut, and there with the smoking gun in hand stood Athena King. Marlon smiled from ear to ear as he quickly got up to the man's weapon. Athena fired her Glock 45 and hit Bunny square in the chest. She fell to the floor as Athena put another bullet in her head. Marlon wasted no time shooting Bambi at point-blank range in the heart, quickly ending her life. Marlon looked at Athena. She had failed the robbery attempt. Ma, where you been? And how did you find me? Asked Marlon as he gave her a hug. Vengeance, she said as she explained how April had pinpointed his location by his cell phone usage. She found the room because he had told her about his father on their date. Athena had been staking out the room for hours and was thinking about leaving when she saw Marlon enter with the two women. She was angry at first, but then she saw the gunman lurking around and knew what time it was. You nearly messed up. I know, Athena, but you came in to save me. I owed you one, she said. I'm not here for pleasure, but I need you to save me. Marlon, I came to find you and ask you to help me destroy my brothers. Mom, I've been trying to wrap my head around the thing with you and your family for the past few months, and I still don't understand it. If you want my help, you have to tell me everything. I understand, and I will. But first, we've got to get out of here. And then what, Ma? I'll tell you everything. Marlon thought a moment. I have an idea. How about we take the train back to New Orleans? We can get a private rail car with a bed and everything. From here to New Orleans is like 22 hours by train. We can talk there. Just me and you. All right, but we have to wipe down everything you touched in here. Athena and Marlon proceeded to clean the room and erase the evidence of the murders they committed. Thank you, love, Marlon said when they finished. I told you when the time was right that I would show you the real me. This is Athena King, raw and uncut. Now you know, you've seen for yourself. The question is, will you still have me? Marlon looked Athena deep in her eyes. He may have originally had positives in pursuing her, but that all went away. The two were cut from the same cloth. He was cold and she was calculating. She was merciless, and he was ruthless. She was a murderer, and he was a killer. Marlon and Athena were a match made in heaven or hell, depending on the perspective. He was never more attracted to any other woman, and she was never more awe of any other man. Without saying a word, Marlon walked up to her. She looked up to him. The glare in her hazel eyes was shining. Marlon, will you have me? She said softly. At that moment, Marlon kissed her fiercely, child. She returned his kiss passionately. Athena understood Marlon's answer. She knew at that second that Marlon was a man created for her. Marlon and Athena left the room hand in hand. They were on their way back to New Orleans so that they could execute Athena's vengeance. The end. And scene. Until, honey, the Kingdom 2, Athena's Vengeance. Baby, listen. Whew. That was the Kingdom, part 1, apparently. Written by McShakie, Rodney McShakie Roussell, honey. Lord Jesus. Listen, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. First and foremost, thank you to McShakie for allowing us to read this book. Child, I know he was here on the first read. Don't know if he ever showed up and came back, but that's all good in the hood. Okay. But I ain't even gonna lie. I'll be honest with y'all. Marlon and Athena relationship. Girl, I was hoping for that. I'm sorry. I was hoping that Marlon, girl, her and Caleb, well, detective, FBI agent, Vernon Taylor, child, that I ain't like that. I knew Caleb, aka Vernon, aka Dead Man. I knew they wasn't right from the beginning. When he first came on the scene, I knew that he wasn't good for her. He just was hiding too much stuff. I ain't like it. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? You know what you did. Okay, thank you. But yeah, I like them together. So the fact that she went and found her man and they like together, like this is just it just made a little pitty pat in my heart. You know what I'm saying? A little pitty pat in my heart. So I hope y'all enjoyed this book. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this book. Yeah, so I'm gonna drop the link if anybody want to come up and say whatever they got to say about this whole book, not just what we just read, but your thoughts on it. You guys can come up. Excuse me, child, all this air that I've been taking in this reading. If y'all want to come up and say, you know what I'm saying, what you want to say about the book, if y'all have something to say, come on up here and talk to you, girl. If you don't want to, you ain't got to. You know what I'm saying? You know how I do. But we ain't gonna stay here too long because, baby, this video is almost 2 hours long. But I had to give y'all the whole read. You know, I didn't want to prolong, like do another 2 chapters and then come back next week. No, I just want to go ahead and just get all of that out of the way. But I did enjoy the book. Miss Tanya, girl, look, you be up there, you be hanging on and holding on, girl. But I guess I got my wish, honey. Deep down inside, I was wishing that they was together. But we got to see because Ariana was supposed to be dead, right? The mama. She was supposed to be dead. That's what Adonis was finna tell Aries and well, he was finna tell Aries on the phone, but Aries had to click off. So I hope I hope Shakie is in the works of writing book 2, but he did just release this book this year. Was it this year? Yep. September. Wait, it says September 2021? He had just released that book? Yep, September 8th. No, it say 2020. But why I say 2021? Child, I don't know. He did the book. Okay. Just know that the link is in the chat in the description bar if you guys want to go over there and on Amazon to leave a review. You can go over there if you can leave a review of the book and let them know that y'all heard it over here at the Almond Delights Reading Corner. Okay, I know y'all be listening, right? Because after the live, what do I ask y'all to do? Hit the X button, refresh the live, and then leave a comment up under this video. This is the final read, so I need to see y'all comments. I need to see y'all comments. Since I know nobody ain't gonna come up, that's okay. I need to see y'all comments under the video about what y'all thought about this whole book. And then I do the ones that do leave comments most of the time, you know, I will screenshot them and I do send them to Shaky. And he does see them and he does comment back. So maybe I should post those on the wall. I don't know, but he has commented back when I show him the comments that you guys do leave about the book. So do that for me. If you guys don't mind, for those of you that have not already gone over to ACX or click this link to the book that I narrated, His Dream, Her Nightmare, I would appreciate it if you guys go over and purchase the book and listen to it. It's an audio book available on Audible through Amazon. I just dropped the link in the chat for you guys to go and purchase that on audio. So I'm not going to read that here. Eventually I may, but go and get it, and then we'll come back, and then I'll come back, and I may do it here on the reading corner as well. So about next week. So as of now, we do not have another book lined up for our Almond Delights Reading Corner. So yeah, if you are an author and you would like your book read here, please email me. Or if you know an author that would like that book to be read here, email me. Polo, if you're still here, not sure if you're still here, but the author that you ran into, um, um, I don't know if you said it came to the shop. You met them somewhere, and then you told them about the reading corner. So I don't know if you still have their information. If they want us to read that book here, please let me know. But yeah, so if we don't have a book to read next week, then yeah, we will forego the reading corner, and I can use this time to go into the studio so I can continue to record the book that I'm recording now. So I am recording Murder in the Beef Sector, which is written by um is written by Mr. Timothy Blaine. I'm not going to read the Beef Sector book now because I'm being paid to do it on Audible. So once I do it there and he makes his money there on Audible, then I'll come back and do it here. But it don't make sense for me to do it there and do it here at the same time. That's why I didn't read His Dream, Her Nightmare here, because I was reading. That was going to be the next book. His Dream, Her Nightmare was going to be the next book here. But I just recorded that. So I ain't going to waste my money. That I spent to go into the studio recording that there. Um, you know, I'm not gonna waste my time doing that yet. You know what I'm saying? So when we get time to, after we, after a couple of months or whatnot, we'll see how the sales go, and then I'll come back and I'll read it here. So yeah. She's talking about, Dad, you always giving us homework, and y'all always pass the test. Y'all always pass the test. So yes, Polo, if you can, no, you got to do. If you can hit up the author or get the information or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So I can read their book. Otherwise, oh wait, I didn't purchase. I did tell. Hmm, you thinking of doing a sequel to His Dream, Her Nightmare? So maybe when that drops, yes, because you got to, Miss Marla. Like you can't leave us hanging like that. You can't leave us hanging like that, Miss Marla. You got to do it, okay? You have to do it. So I did. Well, MC Shaker, he did give us a chance to. I mean, he did give me permission to read his other book as well. So I'll see. If I do, I'm gonna take a break next Monday. That is the Monday before Christmas, so I will be working. So I will take a break next week, and then I'll order MC Shaky's other book, and if I have not heard from Polo and the author that she encountered, then I'll just go ahead and I'll read MC Shaky's other book, and it's his autobiography, I think, right, Shadia? So I think we'll go with that one. So, Polo, you got homework, please, and thank you. I appreciate you for it. But yeah, so that's it. That's all. You guys go ahead and drop your chocolate and your sun emojis in the chat while I do my church announcements, and we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for. It's been a little over 12 weeks, a little over 12 weeks, I think, of us reading the kingdom, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was just you never know what was going to happen the next week. At least I didn't. I don't think the book was predictable. It was really good. He did great at writing it, and I'm ready for part two. I want to see what Athena is going to do because they don't know where she is. But baby, she got vengeance behind her. Vanessa is out of the game with Buster, and she just into going to kill people. So we'll see what happens when they find out that Aries was the one that put the hit out on Buster. But then we also have to figure out, and we also have to see if if Athena will find out that Marlin is the one that killed Buster. Okay, so it's a whole lot of going on. Now, if he don't hurry up and write this book, I'm gonna be done wrote my own. I'm gonna be done wrote my own version. Look, what we can do is everybody can put a part in and what they think the book is gonna be. So you can write. Well, y'all, I ain't gonna give y'all that much homework, but it would be nice. It'll be funny. I think it'll be funny if we all put like what we thought was gonna happen in the next book or whatever. But he need to hurry up. I'm gonna reach out to him and see if he is even working on that because I know he's a busy man with all the things that he got going on or whatnot. So I'm gonna reach out to him and see. But like I said, I will order his other book, but I want to wait on Polo to see what happens there. There was somebody else that was supposed to be reaching out to their people about their book, but I don't know what happened with that one either. Oh, I need to read. Oh, wait a minute. I need to check my own. We may have another one. Hmm. I'm gonna email. I got to message her and see what's up with that. But anyways, nothing here nor there. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Almond Delights Reading Corner, honey, and reading the Kingdom. Thank you for coming back here with me each and every week, or skip a week, down here at the corner for the reading. Thank you guys for the ones that are able to share the video. I appreciate you guys for that. And if you didn't read my community wall, today is my son's 14th birthday. So, child, he got his gifts and everything. He had a birthday dinner with his friends and his dad. So, the guys did their little thug thizzle or whatnot. And did Tim Blaine have another book he said you can read? Yes, he did. He did, but there is somebody that's in my DMs. I got to get with her first. So I see now I do have a couple of different options now because I'm thinking like, oh, we ain't got no options, but I did forget about that one. But if you guys would like to gift me the book, you can send it to my PO box. I think it's called The Muse is what came next in Mr. Timothy Blaine's series because we did the Epiphany, we did Love and Gospel Music, and I think The Muse came next after that. So it is a series. So if you guys would like to gift me with that book, you can send it here. Almond Brown 09 PO Box 1058. I don't want the digital version. It has to be in book form because I can't sit here with my phone scrolling up trying to read it or whatnot like that. It has to be in book form. And they're not expensive, so if y'all want to, or if you want to send anything else, we can send it to the PO box. Or if you would like to send the funds for me to be able to purchase the book, you can also do that as well. The Cash App is Almond Brown 09, right there. So if you go over there and search Timothy Blaine on Amazon, and you can deposit the funds here for me to read it. But yeah, you say, how do I feel about it? I mean, he's 14. He was just yesterday. He was just 13. So thank y'all for all the happy birthdays. But I want to let you guys know. So, tomorrow is December the 14th. And tomorrow, my sister would have been, um, I think she was a year older than me. B Scale's birthday is tomorrow, December 14th. So you guys send up a prayer for her daughters or whatnot. I'm going to contact them tomorrow. I have been in constant contact, they're my nieces. So I check up on them every week. And she'll even message me and be like, "Hey TT, how you doing? I'm just checking up on you to see how you doing." You know what I'm saying? She lost her mama. She lost her mama. But she called and she check up on me too. So um yeah, I'll be checking on them tomorrow. Her daughter's birthday was December 3rd. I, of course, gifted her. So for Christmas, she said she just wanted gift cards or money or whatnot, which I understand. I don't want to just buy stuff that she may not need. So whatever she need with the money, she can do. She can do what she pleases. So, oh, your father's birthday is tomorrow. Oh wow, in 1/9. That's my niece's birthday, January 9th. Miss Marla, Miss Marla, girl, we got so much in common. Yo, you say your son's birthday was March 1st? No, was it March 1st, Miss Marla? Somebody else's birthday was December 16th. And then you say your dad's birthday is tomorrow, but he also transitioned on the 9th, which is my niece's birthday. That's crazy. Happy heavenly birthday to Miss Marla's father. Okay, if someone going to purchase the book, please let us know so she won't end up with 20 of the same books. Right, right. So if you are gonna gift the book, yes, Miss Marla, your birthday is Thursday. That is my sister's birthday. Your son's birthday is my mother's birthday. And then your dad's birthday is my sister's birthday. And he also transitioned on my niece's birthday. Girl, are we so kin to each other? I know you older than me, so I didn't mean to call you no girl, but that's just how it came out. I'm sorry. But it's just like we are connected everywhere. Now, who in your family has a birthday in February? Somebody got to have a birthday in February. Somebody. If y'all are gonna purchase any of the books that I said, McShakie's book or Uncle Timothy's book, you can comment underneath this video when the live is over. Comment underneath the video so y'all, and let people know that's watching now or may catch the replay. That way that because I have permission from Mr. Tim as well as from McShakie. The other people I'll have to deal with because I have not. Two brothers in February. February what? Miss Marley, you from Florida? Girl, we gotta talk. Are you from Florida? February what, Miss Marla? I ain't gonna let this go. Hurry up. Tell me what Miss Marla. Hurry up and tell me now. February, you better not say what I think you might say. Now you it better not be two of the dates that I know in February. I'ma wait. Okay. Okay, the 23rd and the 24th. Okay. My brother's birthday is the 20th of February, mine the 4th. So all right then. All right. Angela's birthday is the 19th. Sephora's birthday. Sephora, girl, Sephora's birthday in February too. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I'm gonna have to talk to her again to make sure. I try to remember y'all birthdays when y'all do tell me, but it's a lot. It's a lot. I got 7 siblings. Okay, so oh yeah. I ain't never been to Ohio, so I don't know. Maybe you got roots somewhere down here in Florida, child. Cause I'm Florida born and Florida bred, honey. Yes, my roots come out of South Carolina though. Go way back. Let's go way, way back in God. Let's go way back in God. Oh, the devil cannot harm you. Way back in God. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Anyways, let me get off here because I gotta go in here and make these oils. I gotta go to work tomorrow. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, if you guys can please come back and refresh the video and leave a comment if you guys are gonna purchase the book. You know what I'm saying? Don't y'all all jump at once. Don't wait to see who else gonna do it. If you already have it in your heart and your mind and in your spirit to buy the book, don't wait on nobody else. You just be the first one, and I'll pin your comment so everybody can see it so they don't do it. But yeah, I love you guys and thank y'all so much again for joining us down here at the corner. We will be back prayerfully next week. We can come back if we have us a book. Well, no, I still said I'm gonna take a week off. I'm still gonna take a week off from next week. That way it gives us time if I need to order the book with the holidays coming up and stuff. If I have to order the book or if you guys send me the book, it'll have time to get here. So yeah. But I love you guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Like I always tell you guys, thank you so much, Miss Tanya. I love you guys and smile at somebody. It'll change their day. It may even change your day, honey, even with a mask on. They can still see it in your eyes. I love you guys with the love of God. And there is what, honey? Nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Thank you all for joining another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I pray that you enjoyed yourself and you're relaxing your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Come back and join us again next week as we continue our reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Be blessed and enjoy your evening.